Welcome to The Reluctant Leader, an Open Frame Partners podcast short-form video series about leadership. I hear it all the time. Sometimes as nonprofit leaders, we think of the for-profit world as somehow the dark side. We see ourselves and our organizations as doing a good that rises above the base goal of making money. We go to great lengths to distance ourselves from the corporate world and all we think that implies. And in part, that's true. Our motivation as nonprofit leaders is the impact we want to have in the world, not the amount of money we will make in our exit strategy. We're doing good, and our particular good is what gets us going each morning. Of course, there are plenty of for-profit practices that we would not bring into our organizations. But to dismiss the for-profit world as somehow inherently evil, with nothing to offer us as nonprofit leaders, is a mistake. One important for-profit company practice that we ought to apply in our nonprofit worlds is to hold people accountable. I know that sounds harsh and very corporate. The reality is that too often we rely on people's goodwill, commitment, and enthusiasm for our mission as an excuse to not hold them accountable for success. Accountability, though, is not a four-letter word. What I want to express to you today are two ideas about how accountability ought to have a place in your leadership practice. First, accountability is not inherently an evil notion. And second, what we hold people accountable for makes all the difference. So first, for some reason, nonprofits shy away from accountability. It's difficult, it leads to uncomfortable conversations. It implies that someone is not adequate to their job. We want people to be successful because they love what they do. And yet, if people aren't successful in meeting goals, our organization will not survive. Part of the answer, out of the tension between living our mission and ensuring organizational stability, is a particular sort of accountability. I suggest to you that accountability is meaningless without a clear tactical plan to move a goal forward that includes transparency about what we're doing to meet that goal, sufficient resources to achieve it, including the right people focused on the goal, and enough time to make it a reality. These are all typical ideas about the mechanics of goal setting that most for-profit companies understand and many nonprofits strive for. But the biggest point I want to make with you today is the second idea about what we're accountable for. Consider that too often we're holding people accountable for the wrong thing, the outcome, attaining the goal itself. It may feel counterintuitive, but holding people accountable for the outcome, the goal result, is a false flag that only allows us to either feel good about ourselves or to place blame. The reality is that we do not have control over outcomes, and holding people accountable for the outcomes ensures that we will continue to stumble in the dark, hoping to hit the goal. Okay, so that sounds bleak. As leaders, don't we need to hold people accountable to the goal in order to make progress? Well, the answer lies in accepting what we have control over and what we do not. We do not have control over outcomes, those results. We absolutely have control over what we do to reach the outcomes and the activities we activate to hit the goal. Think about it this way. We start out agreeing on a bet. We bet that if we do X set of activities with a high level of excellence, then we will make our goal. The accountability is not, did we make the goal, but rather, did we execute on the activities to attain it? Did we continuously evaluate our progress as a result of those activities and adjust along the way? The litmus test for this level of accountability is, did we do everything possible to make the goal? Can we look back along the path and say with fidelity that we left nothing on the table? The result is either we attained the goal or we did not, which is another way of saying we made a bet, an assumption, that a certain set of activities will result in goal attainment, and either we won or lost that bet. In any event, our control is not with the outcomes, but with the effort and set of activities we agreed will result in those outcomes. When we evaluate people within our organizations about goal attainment, our first focus should always reflect the question, did we do everything possible to meet the goal? That is the central question that focuses our evaluation on the right places and takes things like goodwill, commitment, and enthusiasm and translates them into something tangible we actually can evaluate.